So I do want to actually have some positive talk in this conversation. We will.
What, this hasn't been positive?
and, and here is the segue. Obviously,
Right.
we know that, and you saw you wrote about it on your report card for MassLive, right? It's Drake. They have their guy. Drake is the guy. Because you have such great connections and conversations with everyone from the team. What are some of the biggest differences between Drake and Mac from both like a leadership perspective
Right.
and a coach and a coaching perspective that you've noticed, that you've heard?
Mm.
The reputation he had was, he was really smart, could make quick decisions and quick reads, and could get rid of the ball quickly. So he was the prototype for that Brady, the offense that had been carried on through the years, because mentally he could handle it. And he also had a very quick release, and he was fairly accurate in, you know, 5 to 10 yards, 15 yards out. Okay. But that was, and we saw how Josh McDaniels was able to utilize that in Mac's rookie year, and Mac looked good. He was a Pro Bowler.
A Pro Bowler.
I'd say
Yeah.
he's a Pro Bowler. But I mean, I think again, in that offense with the right personnel, they figured Mac could succeed. But here's the difference. When you don't have an offensive line, when you don't have weapons who can separate, when you need your quarterback to make the people around you better, that was not Mac's strong suit. Enter Drake Maye. Number one, his arm is it's like night and day. I mean, for Drake to be able, Mac tried to roll right and throw left.
Often.
Yeah, and he never should have, because that's not his wheelhouse. That's not his ability.
Yeah.
Whereas you watch Drake Maye roll right and throw left accurately and with mustard on the ball, huge. That is huge, a huge difference. His ability to throw the ball downfield, another huge difference. His ability to take off at the right time and kind of know and have a better sense of the pocket and the feel of the pocket to know when to take off, as opposed to every single time when the rush comes. His pocket awareness and sense, again, is so much better than Mac Jones' ability. His ability to throw guys open,
Right.
because of his arm and because of his, again, it's like a field awareness that he has. Knowing where he can read a defense. He'll know where the defenders are, and he'll know where to put the ball before the receiver even gets there. I mean, those are kind of special.
Yep.
Special skills. I mean, talking to Austin Hooper is like blown away by how good he is at stuff like that at age 22. And, he tells me, I've played with quarterbacks much older, who've been in the league much longer, who don't have that ability.
Mm-hmm.
To, again, put the ball where only the receiver can catch it. Brady had that ability. I'm not comparing the two, but there are, again, certain things about Drake Maye that are so advanced for his age. And in comparison with Mac never had those skills.
Right.
Yeah.
Drake does.
No. Yeah, no, I mean, it it became pretty obvious that he had plateaued, meaning some of Mac after his rookie year. Right now,
Well,
obviously, when you have them much change, and obviously, I think maybe that's what they're trying to do now. They don't want to have them much change because of what happened with Mac Jones a few years back, where you're bringing in Matt Patricia, you bringing in Bill O'Brien in his third year.
yeah, I mean, Mac was sabotaged, there's no
Yeah,
question
for
about that.
sure.
But but beyond that, again, his ceiling, Drake's ceiling is so far above
Right.
Mac's ceiling. And that's the biggest difference is where their ceilings are. And and I, you know, if Mac wasn't ruined, he might have been a decent quarterback
Yeah,
or a backup quarterback, but he got wrecked so much that he's even not good in Jacksonville.
I think
Yeah, I mean, Sunday, I was like, wow. I mean, not even wow, because you're not surprised anymore when he has a subpar performance, but it was just like,
Yeah.
wow, like I didn't know it was still this bad.
He could, yeah,
Listen, that's been Elliott Bull's best move,
yeah.
yes.
Well,
but by far. So thank you. That
Well,
I was like, he won the offseason just for that. Um, in that regard. But so I know obviously you're down there weekly, and you're in there, but what what has been so we've heard reports about how they've been kind of joyful at times, in the locker room after games, but just what do you feel is like the overall mood of the team right now? Because obviously it hasn't been much success, excuse me, this year, but just can you speak to the overall feeling of the locker room going into this for the final quarter of the year?
well, I think the best thing that Gerard Mayo had going for them, at least to this point, is that the players were still playing. I mean, they were still trying to win games. They were still fighting. There was no real give up, where some teams that were this bad would just sort of pack it in and kind of lay an egg every week. But I mean, the Miami game in Miami wasn't wasn't good, but and you thought that that would be the point, the turning point where they would just go
right.
downhill all the way. But they've been they were in the LA game. They're in the Indy game. They should have won that game. Um, but the point being is the players are still, putting out effort
Hmm.
in these games. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they're all saying the right things, how it is from here on out after finally getting their break. Will they really come back recharge or or is it still the start of an early vacation? Are they planning their vacation? So I think that part is still to be determined, uh, as far as how the locker room is or isn't.
Is the way that Drake carries himself on the field enough to keep the team motivated throughout the course of the year? Because it feels like to me
It,
that's what it
it
is.
might be. Yeah. Well, that's the other part. Again, if you're comparing Mac to Drake, make Drake just seems to have much more command of the offense, command of the huddle, respect of the huddle, uh, than Mac ever had. And again, he's won these guys over.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And some of that is his kind of aw shucks personality, but it's also him taking accountability for mistakes, and not just his mistakes, other people's mistakes. He won't throw the offensive lineman under the bus. He won't throw receivers running the wrong route under the bus. He has he's pretty savvy on knowing how to be the leader of the team and how to be the quarterback. And again, it probably goes back to having a father who was a coach, older brothers who were very good in sports. And it's hard. I think he's picked up some things along the way, but he seems like a natural leader. And that's so important for the player who's playing quarterback.
Yeah, I think the last time that the 3 of us were on this show, when we were making a comp about Mac Jones, we all come to the agreement that at his best, he could probably be like a good Chad Pennington, right?
Well, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think at Drake's best, he could be a Lions Matthew Stafford. And that
Mhm.
ceiling, like that difference right there is everything. It and
Yeah.
it shows. It absolutely shows.
Mhm.